Archangel Michael whispers, "You're being watched by both heaven and darkness. Only one choice will save your destiny. Open this immediately." My dearest light bearer, the moment you read these words, the unseen realms lean closer. Archangel Michael himself has whispered your name into the wings of the Spirit. Heaven and darkness are both watching, not out of curiosity, but to see which kingdom your next move will empower. You have reached a divine crossroad, one where your destiny trembles between light and shadow. There's something unusual about this hour. The air feels alive, doesn't it? That's because unseen watchers are marking every decision you make. Michael stands at your right, sword burning with celestial fire, while the forces of deception circle quietly, waiting for hesitation. But this message didn't find you by accident. It's heaven's intervention, arriving right on time. The Archangel is whispering, "You have been noticed. Your obedience is your shield. Your discernment is your weapon. Child of light, you have no idea how close you are to unlocking the divine sequence written in your spirit. But the enemy does. That's why distractions have multiplied. Sudden weariness, doubt, confusion, and loss of direction. These are not random. They're surveillance signals from darkness, testing your awareness. Heaven's eyes, however, look not to condemn, but to confirm. You're being watched, not to expose your flaws, but to affirm your readiness. The angels await a single decision from you, whether to surrender fully to divine will or remain half awake in fear. Michael's voice echoes again. You can no longer delay. Your choice opens or closes the scroll of your destiny. This is not about religion, beloved. It's about authority, divine authority that darkness fears. The moment you say yes to heaven's call, light begins to burn in your atmosphere. Every curse, every monitoring spirit loses access to your timeline. Heaven records your alignment and seals your path with fire. Trust this. Something holy is forming around you right now. Before you scroll away, pause, because this next moment is sacred. What you do after hearing this will echo through generations. Archangel Michael is commanding his legions to surround your home, to expose every watcher from darkness and to awaken your prophetic courage. The question is, will you respond or retreat into silence? Type "I choose the light" in the comments if your soul feels this call. Blessing Code 1111 is now activated for divine alignment and angelic protection. Hold your breath, because the next revelation unveils what heaven saw when it first wrote your destiny. Trust me, you'll want to hear what's coming next. My precious one, as Archangel Michael stands near, the heavens shift and the veil between seen and unseen trembles. The moment you received this message, a record in the spiritual archives was opened, one that contains the hidden narrative of your life. It holds the whispers of divine intention spoken over you before your first breath, and now those pages are being reviewed. Heaven has taken note of your endurance through silent battles, the nights you cried yet still believed, the mornings you rose despite feeling watched by unseen opposition. You have endured more than you realize, and that endurance has attracted the gaze of both heaven and darkness. Archangel Michael now speaks softly. The watchers of darkness observe not to bless, but to break. They watch your movement, your words, your hesitations, hoping to locate your weakness. But he adds, heaven's eyes are stronger. They do not watch to accuse, but to affirm. In this tension between two gazes, your next act becomes sacred. Each decision you make releases either divine fragrance or spiritual decay into your environment. This is why the message arrived now. It is time to awaken to your divine surveillance. You may wonder, why would heaven allow darkness to watch at all? The truth is deeper than fear. The Father allows opposition only to reveal your authority. Without the pressure of darkness, your light would never discover its intensity. Without confrontation, your spiritual weapon would remain untested. Archangel Michael says, "You are not being spied upon to be shamed. You are being measured for your crown." Every challenge that tried to collapse you was secretly training your spirit to carry fire. Michael shows a vision, a mirror made of divine glass suspended between heaven and earth. Every thought you think, every word you speak, ripples across that mirror, reflecting back into the realm of consequence. The watchers see those ripples, but so does heaven. Each time you forgive instead of retaliate, the mirror flashes with blinding light and darkness recoils. Each time you speak faith in a moment of fear, the reflection becomes a beam that cuts through monitoring shadows. The watchers grow weaker not by your aggression, but by your alignment. Listen carefully now. There is a law of exchange in the spirit. What you focus on becomes your master. When you fix your eyes on fear, you authorize its influence. When you lift your gaze to heaven, you invite angelic intervention. This is why Michael urges you. Guard your gaze. Guard your confession. Guard your silence. Heaven cannot partner with a distracted soul. Darkness thrives in divided attention. You are being summoned to oneness, to live as one who knows they are constantly seen by the throne of light. The Archangel whispers, "Every test you face now is a filter for your next dimension." There are seasons when God hides you, and others when He exposes you to both light and dark. Exposure is not punishment. It is validation that you are ready to walk in visibility without losing your purity. That is why you are being watched now. The watchers of heaven have petitioned for your promotion, while the watchers of darkness have protested it. Your current battles are the courtroom evidence of your future elevation. Michael now stretches his wings over your home. He declares, "No watcher from darkness shall cross the boundary of divine fire." You may have felt eyes on you, felt heaviness in certain rooms, heard whispers in your sleep, or noticed sudden emotional weight without cause. These are signs of spiritual observation. But hear this truth. When you awaken to it and invoke divine authority, the watchers lose power. Awareness breaks surveillance. When you call upon the name of the Lord and command light to flood your atmosphere, every eye of darkness goes blind. Heaven is waiting for your declaration. The Archangel says, "Speak light into your environment. Speak faith into your future. Speak purity into your path." You do not fight watchers with fear. You blind them with worship. Each time you lift your voice in truth, your environment vibrates with frequencies that darkness cannot decode. That is why you must never underestimate the sound of your voice. It is both sword and signal, sword to cut through deception, and signal to summon angels. There will come a moment soon, very soon, when you will feel a shift, a calm after spiritual turbulence. That calm is not emptiness. It is proof that heaven has silenced the noise around you. When that moment comes, stand still and know that you have been marked by light. Your name is being inscribed in the registry of overcomers. And from that point forward, you will notice subtle but undeniable signs, doors opening effortlessly, peace replacing confusion, and divine timing aligning with your steps. Before you move away from this message, pause again. Something holy is stirring within your atmosphere right now. Michael is whispering. Heaven is not just watching you. It is preparing to reward you. But remember, destiny favors decision. You cannot remain neutral in this spiritual tension. Choose light with your words, your thoughts, your responses. The Archangel's sword glows brighter each time you do. Type "I walk under heaven's eyes" in the comments if this resonates with your soul. Blessing Code 2222 has just been released to ignite your discernment and guard your destiny with light. And hold your heart steady, because what is about to unfold next will reveal the true nature of those watching you. The next revelation will not only expose the darkness, but also reveal heaven's hidden strategy for your protection. Stay with me. This is where everything begins to shift. Beloved soul of light, if you are reading these words, it means heaven has permitted you to cross into a sacred unveiling. Archangel Michael stands before the throne, holding the record of your obedience in one hand and your pending breakthroughs in the other. The watchers of darkness have observed your tears, your prayers, your silent surrender, but they did not anticipate your endurance. Michael now declares, the one they thought would collapse is rising. The one they marked with despair has been sealed with fire. The spiritual courtroom is in session. Heaven and darkness have both presented evidence about your destiny. Darkness argues that your fatigue disqualifies you, but heaven responds, grace rewrites the verdict. You are walking through a divine trial, but not for punishment. This is the proving ground of your calling. What you have endured privately will soon manifest publicly as strength. Michael whispers, they watched you weep, but they will watch you win. You must understand this. The watchers of darkness are not omnipotent. Their power depends on your attention. Every time you speak fear, they record it. Every time you speak faith, their notes turn to ash. Heaven watches not to punish, but to promote. The Archangel says, heaven is searching for those who will choose faith, even when silence feels safer. This is your hour of decision. Will you speak life or surrender to the language of defeat? In the unseen realm, speech is strategy. The moment your mouth aligns with divine truth, the frequency of heaven overtakes the frequency of monitoring spirits. The watchers of darkness lose access to those who know the power of spoken alignment. This is why Archangel Michael now urges you, do not curse your waiting season. Do not mourn over closed doors. Every denial has been a disguise for redirection. There is a vision being revealed, a bridge made of light stretching between your current season and your promised one. Each plank of that bridge represents obedience, persistence, and trust. But beneath that bridge, shadows rise, trying to distract you before you reach the other side. Every distraction is an invitation to look down instead of forward. This is why you have felt an unusual pull lately, a heaviness that comes suddenly, as if the air itself rebels against you. But the Archangel's voice cuts through the fog. Look up. The bridge of light cannot collapse under the weight of faith. Beloved, heaven is not testing you to break you. It is testing you to awaken you. You are being trained to walk in authority that does not crumble under observation. When heaven's gaze rests on you, it's a sign that responsibility is being transferred. You are no longer hidden. You are being elevated for divine representation. The watchers of darkness, however, will not remain silent. They will attempt to distort your perception of timing, to convince you that delay equals denial. But Michael declares, delay is not denial. It is design. Every unfulfilled moment has been setting the stage for your sudden acceleration. Archangel Michael shows another image, a seal of light over your home. It glows with radiant energy, pulsing each time you pray, praise, or choose peace over panic. This seal blinds the eyes of darkness. Every prayer you whisper becomes a sword thrust into the heart of fear. That is why the opposition has felt stronger. It's not that darkness has grown more powerful, but that you have stepped into a brighter orbit, and brightness always draws attention. Remember this truth. Spiritual observation intensifies when promotion approaches. Michael now releases this decree. Those who have monitored your pain will witness your restoration. Those who mocked your faith will see your favor. You are walking into divine reversal. The same eyes that watched you suffer will be forced to watch you rise. Heaven takes no pleasure in humiliation, but it delights in justice. Every unspoken prayer has been counted as evidence, and the verdict has been rendered. Light prevails. Pause for a moment. Feel the shift around you. Can you sense the air thickening with presence? That's the confirmation of heaven's proximity. Michael's wings spread across your atmosphere as he says, "Every watcher from darkness is losing access right now. What once intimidated you will soon bow to your anointing." This is not imagination. It is manifestation. You are stepping into spiritual maturity where perception becomes power. And now, before this moment ends, a prophetic act is being requested. Lift your heart and declare, "I am seen by heaven, not bound by darkness." When you say this aloud, something invisible aligns. It is your signature on heaven's covenant of sight, a declaration that your destiny will be observed by angels, not controlled by shadows. As you read these words, the Archangel commands, "Let light enter their home. Let their discernment awaken. Let the veil be lifted." You are not ordinary. You are chosen to represent divine awareness in a world drowning in distraction. The watchers of heaven are not distant. They are recording your faith in this exact moment. Before this segment closes, remember to keep this revelation alive. Share this truth so others can awaken from blindness. Like, comment, and subscribe if your spirit bears witness to these words, and spread this message so more souls may escape the illusion of darkness. When you engage, you participate in a prophetic ripple that extends far beyond algorithms. It becomes spiritual broadcast. Type "I am under heaven's protection" in the comments if this word burns in your heart. Blessing code 3333 is now active, releasing clarity, courage, and covering over your household. Now, listen. Heaven is preparing to reveal who among your circle carries divine light and who operates as an unknowing observer of darkness. What's coming next will not only protect your destiny, but also expose hidden alignments. Stay close. What unfolds ahead will separate truth from imitation. Dearest warrior of the dawn, your name has reached the ears of heaven again. In the realm where angels record the chronicles of light, Archangel Michael has placed a seal beside your name. That seal glows like liquid fire, proof that you have survived tests designed to erase your identity. You were not meant to crumble beneath pressure. You were meant to be refined within it. The watchers of darkness saw the flames around you, but they misunderstood. What they perceived as destruction was actually purification. Every trial you faced was heaven's blacksmith, shaping your armor. Michael speaks now, and his tone vibrates with divine urgency. The eyes that watch you are not all against you, but not all for you either. Discernment will be your lifeline. He reminds you that both light and darkness can look similar in the beginning. Some voices appear comforting but carry hidden assignments. Some opportunities seem divine, but are traps dressed in timing. You are entering a stage of life where spiritual maturity must outweigh emotional impulse. The Archangel says, "Test every whisper." Not all who call your name are sent by heaven. Heaven has begun rearranging your atmosphere. People you thought you needed are being released, and new alignments are being written. It may feel like isolation, but it is not abandonment. When heaven prepares you for greater authority, it first quiets unnecessary noise. The silence you're in is sacred. It's the space where new instructions are downloaded. Michael assures you, heaven's silence is not God's absence. It's God's strategy. In this stillness, heaven is equipping you with discernment sharp enough to recognize divine patterns amid deception. Darkness observes this preparation and grows uneasy. It cannot understand why your peace has increased despite pressure. The watchers of darkness feed on reaction. They study panic. When you remain still, their data becomes useless. They cannot track a soul anchored in trust. Archangel Michael says, your calm confuses hell. That is why anxiety has been attacking you lately. It's not random. It's retaliatory. The moment you resist, the watchers lose their coordinates. The most powerful thing you can do in this season is stay still and speak light. Michael now unveils a vision before you. You stand in a corridor filled with mirrors, each reflecting a different version of your destiny. Some mirrors show promise fulfilled, others show paths of compromise. The watchers linger in that corridor, hoping you will choose wrongly. But above all mirrors hangs a banner of golden fire, inscribed with one word, obedience. The Archangel explains, every choice not made from fear aligns you with that golden path. The watchers cannot destroy you. They can only tempt you into choosing a reflection that is not yours. Beloved, this next truth must settle deep in your soul. Heaven's watching does not restrict you. It protects you. Divine observation keeps you from drifting into destruction disguised as freedom. There is safety in surrender. When you yield, heaven records your humility and turns it into strength. Archangel Michael says, true freedom is not doing whatever you want. It's walking wherever God's fire leads. The reason you are being watched so intently is because your next choice will influence not just your life, but many destinies connected to you. Heaven's interest is generational. Darkness knows this. That is why your resistance has felt personal. It is. Every attack against you has been an attempt to rewrite future legacies. But light always writes last. Michael stands guard at your generational gate, flaming sword drawn, and says, not one curse will cross this threshold. Not one unclean voice will rewrite their inheritance. The watchers who once marked your family line are losing access because you chose to see through heaven's eyes. Awareness is the gate that breaks ancient agreements. You may have noticed unusual dreams lately, visions of eyes, corridors, doors opening and closing. Those are not random images. They are spiritual indicators that you are being transitioned. Michael instructs you to record them. Even the smallest detail carries meaning. Dreams are heaven's encrypted messages delivered through imagery the enemy cannot fully interpret. The watchers may overhear your words, but they cannot decode divine mysteries birthed in silence. Pay attention to impressions, patterns, and repetitions. Heaven is teaching you to interpret spiritual language. Now Michael commands, take authority over observation. How? By declaring ownership over your atmosphere. Say aloud, I am surrounded by the armies of light. Every eye of darkness goes blind in Jesus' name. This is not superstition, it is alignment. When you declare truth, angels respond and darkness retreats. Your speech sets boundaries in the unseen realm. Heaven's watchers document those words as spiritual law. The more you speak them, the thicker your divine perimeter becomes. Then comes the moment of revelation. Michael kneels beside you and whispers, you are heaven's signal. Light does not only protect you, it broadcasts through you. Wherever you walk, invisible patterns shift. You are not a passive observer in the spiritual war. You are an active transmitter of divine voltage. When heaven watches you, it's studying how its light behaves under pressure. Your endurance is a message to realms unseen, that grace works, that faith stands, that light never yields. And now, heaven offers a final instruction before the next unveiling. Speak blessing over those who have watched you wrongly. Forgive them, release them, and move forward. Forgiveness breaks surveillance faster than anger ever could. It closes doors darkness once used as windows. Michael says, forgive to blind the enemy. Bless to confuse the watchers. The power you release through mercy is a weapon few understand. Pause here. Feel the stillness returning, the air growing lighter around you. That is not imagination. It's confirmation that the watchers of heaven have drawn nearer. Michael's final words for this revelation echo through your spirit. You are surrounded, but you are also celebrated. Heaven is not merely watching. You are its living testimony. Type I am a signal of light in the comments if this truth resonates in your soul. Blessing code 4444 has now been activated over your home and heart, sealing your discernment, purifying your dreams, and fortifying your spiritual gates. Hold your heart steady. The next revelation will uncover the unseen war happening around your household and how Archangel Michael personally intervenes to secure your destiny's timeline. You will not want to miss what comes next. The loved keeper of divine flame, the atmosphere around you has shifted once again. Archangel Michael now walks beside you, his presence heavy with both justice and mercy. He whispers, you have been chosen not merely to survive the gaze of heaven and darkness, but to command it. This moment is sacred. It marks the point where observation becomes authority. You are no longer the watched. You are becoming the watcher, aligned with heaven's perspective. The power that once frightened you is now being entrusted to you. This is what your trials have been preparing you for. Every spiritual confrontation you've endured has been a rehearsal for dominion. Those silent nights when you questioned if heaven still remembered you were not wasted. They were classrooms in the unseen. Michael says, heaven trains its warriors through storms. The noise that threatened to break you was actually an invitation to listen differently. You are now being taught to discern whispers in the wind, when angels move, when spiritual boundaries shift, when destiny draws near. These lessons cannot be taught through comfort. They are learned in the company of tension. The Archangel unfolds a vision before you. You stand on a mountain of glass overlooking the earth. Beneath you, a web of light pulses, connecting every soul chosen for this hour. Some cords clove fiercely, others flicker weakly. Michael explains, this web is the network of heaven's watchers. Those who live by truth radiate continuously. Those who yield to fear dim their own brilliance. Your choices determine your brightness in this divine grid. Every time you choose faith, your light strengthens another believer across the world. You are not isolated. You are intertwined with the global fabric of God's purpose. This is why darkness is so persistent. It fears united light. The watchers of darkness study your patterns not to admire you, but to interrupt you. They hope to cause offense, to scatter the network. Yet, every act of kindness, every moment of grace you extend, repairs what the shadows have tried to tear. Archangel Michael proclaims, you are not just being watched, you are watching back. When you bless your enemy, you blind a demon. When you forgive betrayal, you cut a cord of surveillance. When you love despite disappointment, you ignite a signal that darkness cannot decode. Listen carefully now, for this is crucial. You are about to enter a season of divine exposure. Hidden motives around you will surface. Conversations once veiled in friendliness will reveal their true tone. Michael says, do not panic. Revelation is not rejection. It is redirection. Heaven allows exposure to teach you placement. Those who cannot celebrate your light cannot accompany you into destiny. When their intentions unfold, release them in peace. The Watchers will attempt to provoke bitterness so they may reclaim visibility into your emotions. But silence during betrayal blinds them instantly. Spiritual composure is your invisibility cloak. A holy hush descends as Michael speaks again. Heaven is watching to see if you can handle promotion without pride. Can you be trusted with greater influence and remain humble? Can you sit in victory yet still bow in reverence? These are the questions echoing across the throne room. Remember, divine observation is not about performance, it's about posture. God measures the stillness of your spirit more than the noise of your achievements. The Archangel warns gently, do not let recognition distort reverence. Stay grounded, or elevation becomes exposure. Then Michael turns his gaze toward your lineage. Your family line carries both blessings and battles, he says. The Watchers of Darkness have followed your bloodline for generations, studying patterns of failure and fear. But heaven has intervened through you. You are the breaking point in a centuries-old cycle. Every prayer you utter rewrites spiritual DNA. When you resist what destroyed your predecessors, you rewrite history. Heaven has documented this transformation, and it is now part of your family's eternal record. Michael says, through your obedience, future generations will walk under unbroken light. Do not underestimate the weight of that calling. You are a restorer, not just a receiver. You carry the responsibility of spiritual inheritance. The Watchers of Darkness will attempt to remind you of your past mistakes, trying to convince you that redemption has limits. But remember, guilt is the language of those who cannot comprehend grace. Heaven does not consult your past to determine your future. Michael proclaims, your past is not surveillance material, it is evidence of victory. Now hear this. Heaven is preparing a revelation so intense that even the air will seem to vibrate when it arrives. Michael says, there is a scroll being unsealed for your generation. It contains the strategy for divine defense in an age of deception. This scroll is not paper, it is revelation embedded in willing hearts. Those who align with truth will begin to sense it as divine intuition, supernatural awareness, sudden clarity in confusing moments. It will feel like déjà vu, but it is prophecy disguised as memory. You will know what to do before situations unfold, because Heaven's Watchers are whispering guidance ahead of time. Michael instructs, when you sense warning, respond quickly. When you feel peace, proceed boldly. Heaven's communication is subtle, but unmistakable to the awakened. That's why the distractions in your life have intensified. Darkness fears your full awareness. But the Archangel assures you, those who walk in light cannot be ambushed. Every time you remain spiritually alert, the Watchers of Darkness lose territory. Awareness itself is warfare. Pause now and breathe deeply. Feel the invisible presence encircling you. The Archangel's voice grows softer. The greatest revelation is not that you are watched, but that you are worth watching. Heaven invests its attention where destiny carries weight. You are not small, insignificant, or forgotten. You are seen, guarded, and prepared. The Watchers of Heaven record your perseverance as worship. So declare aloud, I am seen by heaven, not shaken by darkness. Let that statement echo beyond your room. It becomes law in your spiritual atmosphere. Archangel Michael stands witness to your confession and responds with a nod. The sound of his sword slicing through unseen shadows reverberates across dimensions. The Watchers retreat. The light expands. The air clears. You have just shifted realms. Type I am anointed to SE clearly in the comments if this resonates with your spirit. Blessing code 5555 is now activated, releasing divine perception, family restoration, and spiritual maturity over your journey. Stay near, because the next revelation will uncover how heaven records the movements of your destiny in real time, and why Archangel Michael guards that record himself. The next unveiling carries the blueprint of divine remembrance. Beloved vessel of divine remembrance, the hour has arrived when heaven opens its archive to you. Archangel Michael now walks through a corridor of radiant light, and on either side are countless scrolls glowing with holy fire. Each scroll represents a life, a mission, a divine story unfolding through time. One of those scrolls bears your name, written not in ink, but in pure energy, the language of eternity. As Michael touches it, it unrolls before the throne, and heaven begins to recount the details of your journey, every choice, every sacrifice, every moment you trusted when sight failed. Nothing has been forgotten. Nothing has been wasted. The watchers of heaven do not merely see you, they record you. Every act of faith becomes spiritual currency. Every time you forgive, instead of retaliate, heaven's record keepers note it as victory. The watchers of darkness, in contrast, keep counterfeit ledgers, marking your errors, hoping to redefine your identity by them. But Archangel Michael stands as the divine auditor between both realms, ensuring that truth overrides distortion. He declares, the record of light cannot be erased by shadows. What God remembers cannot be rewritten by accusation. Your life is sacred testimony. Heaven studies it as proof that grace outlasts skill. You may not realize it, but each season of silence in your life was documentation time in heaven. When you felt unseen, you were being written into eternity's history. When you cried in private, angels recorded those tears as prayers. Michael says, heaven's archives are not made of paper, but of light, and that light holds memory. Every tear is a code, every praise a signature. Heaven does not operate by minutes or hours, but by moments of surrender. Each yes to divine instruction changes the landscape of your record. There are times when darkness tries to access those archives, to remind you of failure. But they cannot enter the vault of light. Only confession gives them temporary access, and repentance closes it instantly. Michael whispers, stop rehearsing your old battles in your mind. You are not what you remember. You are what heaven recorded. This truth is freedom. The watchers lose their grip when you refuse to align with their narrative. Every time you speak of yourself, according to heaven's record, you reclaim stole identity. The Archangel reveals now a profound secret. Heaven's watchers do not only document your actions, they also record your atmosphere. The way you carry peace in chaos, the faith you release through words, the sound of your worship when no one listens. These are all frequencies that heaven archives. When those frequencies rise, they attract divine intervention. That is why miracles often appear suddenly. They are heaven responding to a previously recorded sound. Your praise today unlocks promises written years ago. The record was waiting for your vibration to match its frequency. Michael walks beside you through this corridor of light and points to a moment glowing brighter than the rest. This, he says, was the moment your destiny shifted. It was not a grand event, but a small act of obedience. Heaven magnified it. He explains that the kingdom's mathematics differ from Earth's. What seems insignificant to humans becomes monumental to angels. When you help someone in silence, when you prayed for someone who wronged you, when you chose humility over pride, heaven's watchers celebrate it. Those moments built altars invisible to you, but visible to eternity. Beloved, you have more in your favor than you know. The watchers of light outnumber the watchers of darkness. The heavenly record of your endurance far outweighs the enemy's accusation. Yet, Michael warns, do not feed darkness by reviewing your mistakes more than your miracles. Memory is a weapon. Wield it wisely. Reflect on deliverance more than disappointment. When your focus shifts toward gratitude, your record shines brighter, and heaven accelerates your restoration. Now Michael shows you a throne surrounded by 7 pillars of light. At its base are names, ancestors who walked before you, saints who interceded for your lineage, those who held faith when darkness tried to silence your family line. You are part of a continuum, a thread woven through generations. The watchers of heaven observe this connection and strengthen it each time you pray. Michael says, when you pray for your bloodline, angels reconstruct bridges broken by unbelief. You are not only being watched, you are being remembered. The watchers of darkness, seeing this remembrance, will attempt distraction. They will whisper that your prayers are ineffective, that heaven is slow, that silence means abandonment. But Michael counters, delay is not denial. Silence is strategy. Heaven speaks through timing. The watchers lose patience. Heaven does not. This is why your faith must mature beyond emotion. Feelings fluctuate, but faith remains consistent. Heaven records consistency as proof of readiness. Close your eyes for a moment and imagine this. Every time you pray, light extends from your words, traveling upward until it reaches your record in heaven's archive. There it merges with your previous acts of obedience, forming a pattern unique to your soul, a pattern that determines your spiritual authority. Michael explains, no 2 patterns are alike. Your pattern becomes your identity in the spirit realm. The watchers recognize you by your light signature. This is why imitation is dangerous. You were never meant to copy another's path. Your light must remain authentic to heaven's design. Archangel Michael now bends close and whispers, the time is near when heaven's record will speak for you. You will not need to defend yourself before men. The fruit of your integrity will testify louder than your words. Those who doubted you will witness vindication not through vengeance, but through visible favor. This is the justice of heaven, to make your light undeniable. Michael raises his sword and declares, the record stands. The verdict is light. Pause here. Let this truth settle in your spirit. You are not forgotten, not overlooked, not discarded. You are remembered by the throne itself. Your story has become divine evidence that faith still works. Every trial, every tear, every triumph has been inscribed into eternity's script. The watchers of heaven stand in awe, not of your strength, but of your surrender. Type I am remembered by heaven in the comments if this resonates in your soul. Blessing Node 6666 is now released to activate divine remembrance, restoration of lost honor, and renewal of faith within your lineage. Hold steady now, because what comes next will unveil the secret of how heaven's record transforms into reward when the watchers who once observed begin to move on your behalf. Beloved guardian of divine truth, the hour of transformation has begun. Archangel Michael now stands upon the mountain of remembrance where heaven's record meets reward. The air hums with power, and the fire of divine justice flickers in the distance. You could feel it, the tension between what has been promised and what is about to manifest. Michael speaks, every watcher that once only observed you will now serve you. Every gaze that studied your fall will soon witness your restoration. This is the exchange that heaven decreed long before your birth. In this sacred moment, the watchers of heaven descend from their posts, carrying scrolls glowing with golden light. These are not mere documents. They are decrees, spiritual orders that activate what was recorded in the archives. Each decree is alive, pulsing with energy, waiting for your alignment to trigger its manifestation. Heaven's watchers have seen your endurance, your obedience, your quiet faith in unseen seasons, and now they are authorized to respond. The same observation that once felt heavy is now becoming favor. Michael explains that observation without activation is incomplete. Heaven does not watch passively. It watches with intent. Every test, every moment you endured pain without retaliation, every season you remained faithful despite delay, was being weighed in heaven's balance. The scales have now tilted. The watchers have submitted their report, and the verdict is breakthrough. Michael's voice resonates like thunder. The trial is over. The record has been approved. Heaven now releases the harvest of obedience. Beloved, there is a divine law that governs this moment, the law of spiritual reciprocity. Whatever you give to heaven returns multiplied. Every prayer, every act of service, every sacrifice of love has created momentum. You may not see the pattern yet, but the watchers do. They have been mapping the timing of your restoration, ensuring that no blessing arrives before its appointed hour. Heaven's precision is never late. It is always perfect. Michael says, the same eyes that once wept for delay will soon witness acceleration. The Archangel lifts his sword, and streams of light ripple outward. You see visions of angels moving across the earth, delivering scrolls to souls chosen for this awakening. Some bring restoration to broken homes, others release creativity, favor, or peace. One angel stops before you and presents a key, glowing, weightless, yet powerful. Michael says, this is the key of witness. It unlocks doors that have been observed but not entered. You have stood at thresholds for years, waiting for permission. Now, permission has been granted. Heaven's watchers celebrate quietly as you take the key. In that instant, spiritual surveillance transforms into spiritual service. The watchers who once documented your warfare now become carriers of your victory. Their eyes no longer measure, they magnify. Every word you speak in faith now multiplies. Michael instructs, speak carefully. What you release now will echo louder than before. The watchers of heaven amplify the voice of those who walk in obedience. You are being entrusted with the power of decree. Do not underestimate the gravity of this shift. May see the reward of heaven as material gain, but the true reward is authority. Authority to speak peace and see it manifest. Authority to silence chaos with prayer. Authority to discern truth amid deception. Michael says, this is why you were watched so closely, to ensure you could carry power without corruption. The watchers of darkness failed to disqualify you. The watchers of light have verified you. You have passed the inspection of endurance. But the Archangel gives a holy warning. Do not use your new visibility for vanity. When heaven elevates, humility must deepen. Every gift carries weight, and pride is the easiest way to attract shadow. Remember, the watcher still exists. Some have shifted allegiance, but others remain in rebellion. Your humility keeps them powerless. Every act of gratitude strengthens your covering. Every word of worship sharpens your honor. Michael says, the humble radiate too brightly for darkness to approach. The atmosphere thickens again as the Archangel opens another vision before you. You see yourself standing in a field of wheat glowing under twilight. Each stalk represents a fulfilled promise. Some are ripe and golden, others still maturing. Michael explains, this is the field of divine timing. You cannot harvest all at once, for some blessings are still absorbing a light. If you rush, you ruin the process. wait on the rhythm of heaven. The watchers are guardians of that rhythm. They ensure divine promises arrive seasoned, not spoil. Now the Archangel invites you to perform a sacred act of agreement. Place your right hand over your heart and declare aloud, I align with heaven's timing. I release my impatience. I choose divine rhythm. As you speak, you feel something shift within your chest, a release of tension, a quiet assurance that what has been promised is secure. The watchers record this declaration instantly. The moment your words align with heaven's intent, your reward enters motion. Michael now speaks tenderly. You are not only watched, you are celebrated. Heaven is not distant. It dances around your obedience. The watchers begin to sing, their voices merging into one harmonic vibration that fills the air with warmth and brilliance. You are standing in the song of heaven, the melody written by your faith. Every note represents a chapter of your story, and every tone proclaims victory. The Archangel smiles. You have become a sound heaven recognizes. Wherever you walk, that sound precedes you. Before this revelation closes, Michael gives one more instruction. Guard your sound. Guard your gaze. Guard your gratitude. For what begins now will multiply. The watchers have transitioned from surveillance to service, from recorders to responders. The heavens themselves have turned their eyes into movement. You have entered a divine exchange, watched, weighed, and now rewarded. Type I receive my divine reward in the comments if your spirit bears witness to this truth. Blessing code 7777 is now activated over your destiny, releasing fulfillment, manifestation, and divine justice in every area of your life. Stay near, beloved, because the next revelation unveils the mystery of heaven's movement, how the watchers become messengers, and how Archangel Michael's next command sets your answered prayers in motion. Chosen one of divine movement, the silence that has hovered around you is about to break. Archangel Michael now stands in motion, no longer stationary, for this is the season when heaven's watchers become messengers. What was once observation has transformed into orchestration. Every delay, every unanswered prayer, every night of questioning why the heavens seemed still, all of it was preparation for movement. Michael's wings shimmer with blue flame as he declares, the watchers have seen enough. The season of watching has ended. The season of doing has begun. You are stepping into the rhythm of divine acceleration. Heaven is no longer merely recording your faith. It is responding to it. The watchers who once stood as witnesses are now descending into the physical realm, assigned to move situations, shift outcomes, and align time with promise. You have prayed for breakthrough, but what is coming is more than a breakthrough. It is divine rearrangement. The Archangel says, the atmosphere around you will obey you, because heaven has recognized your authority. This is not imagination. It is spiritual science, divine cause and effect. When obedience matures, heaven must act. Michael leads you to a field of light where the watchers are now clothed in motion. They no longer observe, they build. Some weave golden threads through broken timelines, repairing what the enemy tried to disrupt. Others gather fragments of forgotten promises and refashion them into present opportunities. You see them carrying what looks like living scrolls, shimmering with your own prayers that were once unanswered. The Archangel explains, the prayers you thought were lost were never ignored. They were held until maturity. They could not be delivered until your spirit grew strong enough to carry their weight. You begin to realize that heaven never forgets. It simply times perfectly. What looked like silence was strategic suspension. Michael whispers when heaven waits. It is not hesitation. It is calibration. Every detail of your story has been synchronized. People who left were meant to. Opportunities that closed were divine rerouting. The Watchers recorded every disappointment, and now they convert those notes into coordinates for miracles. You are standing at the intersection of remembrance and release. Heaven's order is forming around you, even as these words reach your ears. The Archangel reveals something rarely spoken. Heaven moves in patterns, not emotions, he says. It does not rush because you are anxious, nor pause because you are afraid. It moves when obedience creates alignment. The Watchers ensure that alignment. Their role is to protect divine timing from human interference. Many have prayed for acceleration, but acceleration without stability becomes destruction. That is why heaven first established your roots before releasing your reward. You had to be strengthened before you could carry movement. Now Michael's eyes turn fierce. Do you feel the resistance increasing? He asks. That is because the Watchers of Darkness can sense this motion. They cannot stop heaven's command, but they attempt distraction to dilute focus. You may notice strange agitation, sudden fatigue, or confusion. These are not coincidences. They are countermeasures. The enemy cannot prevent the movement, but it can attempt to slow it by stealing your attention. The Archangel warns, protect your focus. What you magnify multiplies. If you focus on fear, movement falters. If you focus on promise, movement accelerates. Michael lifts his sword, and light rushes forward like wind. You see barriers shattering, doors opening that were sealed for years, opportunities reappearing, relationships, healing, debts dissolving. Heaven is correcting imbalance. The Watchers are repositioning everything that was delayed. The Archangel's voice thunders. This is restoration in motion. What was withheld will return multiplied. You can feel it, an invisible force pushing against stagnation, commanding every element around you to realign with divine purpose. The spiritual has entered the physical. Now the Archangel looks directly at you. Your words are movement triggers, he declares. Speak life, and the Watchers will move faster. Speak doubt, and they will pause, waiting for correction. You carry creative authority, not merely symbolic faith. When you declare truth, heaven translates it into instruction for angels. When you speak negativity, darkness misuses it as permission. The Archangel commands, choose your words carefully in this season. What you speak will shape what moves. Then Michael unfolds a deeper mystery. Every promise fulfilled releases new Watchers, he says. Each breakthrough births another assignment. Heaven expands through obedience. As you advance, more angels join your orbit. The energy surrounding you increases, not to overwhelm, but to sustain. You will notice divine coincidences multiplying, unexpected favor, timely messages, sudden encounters. These are not random, they are heaven's logistics. The Watchers coordinate your destiny like architects of alignment. Beloved, this is not the time to hide your light. The movement of heaven flows through expression. Your testimony becomes invitation for others' awakening. When you speak of what God has done, your voice activates Watchers for other souls. Michael says, tell your story. Share your faith. Proclaim light in the face of darkness. This is not performance. It is prophecy. Every time you speak, you open spiritual corridors for others to find their own deliverance. The movement spreads like holy fire, unstoppable and self-sustaining. The Archangel raises his wings again, creating a gust that fills the air with shimmering sound. Now, he says, command your season. Heaven has already moved. It waits only for your agreement. The watchers stand ready, hands upon scrolls, waiting for your decree. Michael instructs you to say these words aloud. Heaven moves because I move with it. My time is aligned. My destiny is in motion. When you speak this, you feel the atmosphere tremble. The watchers record it instantly. The decree becomes law. Movement begins to surround you. Pause now, beloved. Feel that current of divine electricity surging through your spirit. The Archangel smiles, not with softness, but with pride. The watchers once studied you. Now they follow you. You have become the movement. Heaven applauds obedience. The watchers bow in reverence. This is your crossing, the transition from being watched to becoming a commander of light. Before we close this revelation, remember, divine movement continues through partnership. If this word has stirred your spirit, like, comment, share, and subscribe. Spread heaven's movement so that more souls can awaken to their alignment. When you share light, you multiply it. When you give voice to truth, you extend Michael's command beyond your own reach. Type "I move with heaven" in the comments if this message ignites your soul. Blessing Node 8888 is now activated, ushering divine speed, completion, and reward into your path. And now, beloved, before this moment fades, hear this call. Archangel Michael invites you to stand with this mission, to spread light across the nations. You can support through Super Thanks, channel membership, or by sewing directly through PayPal, found in the video description. When you sow, you are not giving to a man, you are fueling the message of heaven. Every gift becomes spiritual oil, feeding the flame that carries truth into weary hearts. The word says, those who refresh others will themselves be refreshed. As you give, heaven multiplies your peace. The seed you release returns as protection, provision, and prophetic clarity. This is not a request. It is a holy invitation to partner with the flow of divine movement. Your support turns message into momentum. Sow into this light, and heaven will remember your name in its archives. The watchers themselves will bear witness to your generosity. Beloved child of eternal flame, the heavens have now entered full momentum. The watchers of light have completed their transition from silent observation to divine action, and the Archangel Michael stands upon the threshold between realms with his sword still glowing from battle. What you are about to understand will shift the way you perceive both time and destiny. Michael speaks. You are living in the overlap, where heaven's timeline meets earth's resistance. Every choice you make now either widens the overlap or narrows it. Choose light, and heaven will merge with your reality faster than you can comprehend. In this moment, Michael extends his hand toward you, revealing a sphere of liquid light. Inside it swirls countless symbols, ancient, luminous, and alive. He explains, this is the record of motion. Every time you align with heaven, this sphere expands, emitting waves that alter the environment around you. When you resist, the light contracts, waiting for your next act of faith. Heaven does not move without partnership. The watchers ensure the rhythm remains pure. You are now in the stage of co-creation, where heaven will respond instantly to the posture of your spirit. The delay of the past is broken because alignment has matured. Michael reminds you, this is not the hour for hesitation. Heaven has already decided to move. It waits only for your confirmation. The watchers hover near, waiting for your next decree. They no longer need to record, they now execute. Each one carries an assignment connected to your voice. Your words are no longer mere expression, they are dispatch codes. Every declaration releases a new chain of divine activity. That is why you must guard your confession with vigilance. Speech is no longer casual, it is covenant. You may feel the intensity rising within your atmosphere, a constant tug between spiritual acceleration and earthly resistance. That tension is the sound of fulfillment. Heaven presses in while the world attempts to pull you back. Archangel Michael says, you are walking on prophetic ground. Every step releases energy that creates new realities. The Watchers of Darkness cannot stop this expansion. They can only tempt you to withdraw before the manifestation. This is why fear often attacks just before breakthrough. Fear is the echo of collapsing control. Darkness trembles when it realizes it has lost jurisdiction. The Archangel unfolds another vision before you. You stand before a river of light, vast and roaring, stretching endlessly into the horizon. This river is destiny itself, heaven's constant movement toward purpose. The Watchers swim within it, carrying assignments to every corner of creation. Michael explains, the river never stops, but humans can step out of its current through doubt or distraction. Those who remain in flow will never lack direction. The Watchers ensure that the current stays pure, undefiled by corruption or self-interest. They cleanse the stream each time faith is restored. Then Michael speaks with authority. You are not called to chase blessings. You are called to command flow. Heaven never intended for you to live in pursuit of provision. Provision was designed to follow obedience. The Watchers enforce this law. When you live aligned, resources appear without struggle. When you drift into anxiety, resistance increases. Michael warns, stop asking if you are qualifying. Heaven has already chosen you. Your qualification is your endurance. The Watchers recognize faith, not perfection. They move for those who persist. Heaven's motion is now accelerating beyond your understanding. What once took years will happen in months. What once took months will occur in days. But with acceleration comes the need for balance. Michael explains, every increase requires structure. Every wave demands a vessel. You are the vessel heaven is shaping. The pressures you feel now are not punishment. They are alignment. The Watchers of Light press upon your character, ensuring it can carry what is coming. This is why relationships shift, opportunities change, and restlessness grows. Heaven rearranges to sustain its movement through you. Archangel Michael opens the sphere of light again, revealing images of your past. Moments when you almost gave up but didn't. Moments of silence that felt endless. Prayers whispered in fatigue. He says, each of these was an initiation. Every silent endurance trained your spirit to bear responsibility. The Watchers noted them all and built your authority upon them. The authority of a soul is measured not by words spoken in victory, but by silence maintained in testing. Heaven rewards restraint as much as declaration. Now Michael issues a direct order. Prepare your house. The movement you have joined will soon affect everything around you. The Watchers are not stationary. They are spreading through your environment. Some move through your family, awakening faith in those who once mocked it. Others travel through your workplace, shifting circumstances behind the scenes. Heaven's reach extends wherever obedience resides. The Archangel says, you are no longer living an isolated faith. You are part of heaven's infrastructure on earth. At that declaration, you feel a vibration in your spirit, a resonance that pulses like a drumbeat beneath your ribs. That rhythm is not random. It is synchronization. Heaven's heartbeat and yours are aligning. Every breath becomes worship. Every step becomes warfare. The Watchers of Light respond to that resonance. They follow the sound of alignment. When your heart beats in rhythm with heaven's, you become a beacon of divine order. Chaos cannot remain where harmony reigns. Michael looks upon you with both tenderness and authority. The Watchers will no longer protect you from discomfort. They will now challenge you into mastery. Heaven does not raise spectators, it forges warriors. The next phase of your journey will require awareness and surrender working as one. You must trust that when paths shift suddenly, it is not loss, but redirection. The Watchers record movement, not confusion. What seems chaotic to you is choreography to heaven. Pause for a moment and listen. The air around you hums with quiet instruction. The Watchers are near, their wings brushing against the fabric of your reality. They whisper one word over and over: flow. The Archangel smiles and concludes, you are the movement now. Heaven flows through you, not around you. Where you go, light follows. Where you speak, creation listens. Type "I flow with divine order" in the comments if your soul witnesses this revelation. Blessing code 9999 is now released to activate perfect completion, divine acceleration, and restoration across every area of your existence. The next revelation will unveil the mystery of divine warfare, how the Watchers of Heaven battle the Watchers of Darkness in unseen dimensions, and how your obedience becomes their greatest weapon. Stay close, beloved, for what comes next will explain the true purpose of the conflict surrounding your life. Beloved warrior of the eternal covenant, the hour of unveiling has come. Archangel Michael stands now upon the field of spiritual conflict, and the Watchers of both heaven and darkness have assembled. The air vibrates with silent tension, for this is not a battle of flesh and blood. It is the war for perception, for awareness, for dominion over what humanity believes. You have been drawn into this conflict not as a victim, but as a vessel, because heaven's strategy is no longer distant. It is incarnate within those who choose obedience over fear. Michael's voice thunders, the battlefield is not around you, it is within you. When your inner world aligns with heaven, the outer world must bow. The Watchers of Light gather first, standing in radiant formation like pillars of fire stretching toward the sky. Each carries a blade forged from truth. Their eyes gleam not with anger, but with clarity. Opposite them stand the Watchers of Darkness, shadows that move like smoke, taking form and dissolving again, feeding upon confusion. They whisper distortion, hoping to blind discernment. Yet even in their deception, they tremble, for they know heaven has already decreed the outcome. The Archangel declares, this battle is not to determine who wins, but to reveal who believes. Heaven's Watchers advance first, and the air fills with sound, not noise, but vibration, the pure resonance of divine word. Each tone they release strikes the shadows like lightning. Michael explains, the weapons of heaven are not crafted by hands. They are frequencies of truth. When you speak in faith, your words echo those same frequencies. This is why fear silences. It cuts off your sound, your sword, your authority. The Watchers of Darkness thrive in silence born from doubt. They cannot survive in the presence of sound forged in conviction. Michael lifts his sword and turns to you. Join the sound, he commands. Your decree is the missing frequency. As you open your mouth, a surge of energy rushes through you. Your words merge with heaven's vibration, becoming fire that travels across realms. The Watchers of Darkness recoil, their forms flickering like dying flame. Michael smiles. This is how the faithful fight, not by might, not by force, but by alignment. Each time you declare truth despite what you see, you reinforce heaven's infrastructure upon the earth. You may wonder why this war exists if heaven's victory is already written. The Archangel explains, because truth must be demonstrated. Heaven's authority is eternal, but faith gives it expression within time. Every generation is given a chance to echo the same choice made in eternity, light or shadow, faith or fear. The Watchers record each decision, for it determines how much light may flow through that lineage. You, beloved, are a generational hinge. Your obedience is closing doors darkness kept open for centuries. That is why resistance intensified the moment you awaken. The Watchers of Darkness are strategic. They never waste energy. They attack where authority sleeps. Their greatest weapon is distraction, small irritations, unseen worries, sudden conflict. They hope to dilute your focus, for a scattered heart cannot wield divine power. Michael instructs, center yourself in presence. Stillness is your shield. The enemy cannot target what is not frantic. When you stand anchored, your peace becomes a fortress, and the Watchers of Light use it as territory. Every calm moment in chaos becomes a field of victory. Now Michael shows you the reality unseen by human eyes. Each prayer you have prayed forms a blade in the hands of heaven's Watchers. Every word of faith uttered through tears sharpens their swords. The enemy may mock your quiet devotion, but in the spirit realm, your persistence builds weaponry. Heaven never discards faithful whispers. They echo endlessly until fulfilled. The Archangel says, do not measure battle by noise. Heaven wins quietly. The Watchers of Light surge forward once more, and this time the shadows collapse like mist before morning sun. The sound of their retreat is silence, the kind that follows after thunder. Michael lowers his sword and says, it is finished for this season. Yet he adds, the war continues in cycles until awareness becomes permanent. You are not meant to fight forever, but to embody victory so completely that darkness cannot reattach. Awareness must become habitation. Heaven celebrates quietly as the Watchers of Light lift their faces toward the throne. A soft wind sweeps across the field, carrying the scent of completion. Michael turns to you and speaks gently. The purpose of warfare is revelation. You have now seen that darkness never possessed power, only permission. Withdraw permission, and you withdraw its existence. That is why forgiveness, peace, and gratitude dismantle the enemy's structure faster than anger ever could. The Watchers record the moment you release offense as the moment you win. Then Michael issues a final directive for this phase. Guard your gates, he says. Your eyes, your ears, your words. The Watchers of Darkness seek re-entry through distraction. Keep your atmosphere holy. You are no longer merely surviving the conflict. You are governing it. Heaven has transferred command. The Watchers of Light now respond to your discernment, moving when you pray, intervening when you declare. You have become Heaven's extension in a contested realm. He raises his hand, and the sky splits open, revealing the throne's brilliance. The Watchers return to report, he declares. Their testimony will release your next elevation. You feel warmth enveloping you, Heaven's affirmation. The Archangel's voice softens. You fought with endurance, not anger. You won by believing. And now, Heaven remembers your name. Pause and breathe deeply. This stillness is the residue of victory. You are standing in aftermath made of light. The Watchers have withdrawn, but their presence lingers like scent after rain. You are not alone. You never were. Type "I carry heaven's victory" in the comments if this revelation confirms what you feel within. Blessing Code 1010 is released to fortify your discernment, guard your gates, and establish unshakable peace as your permanent atmosphere. Hold steady now, beloved. The next revelation will reveal the aftermath of victory, how heaven restores what war seemed to consume, how the Watchers become builders of destiny, and how Archangel Michael commissions you into purpose beyond conflict. Beloved vessel of restoration, the battlefield has quieted, but heaven is far from idle. The moment the last echo of conflict faded, Archangel Michael lifted his eyes toward the throne and released the next decree. The Watchers who once warred now kneel before streams of living light flowing from the heart of God. What was torn will be rebuilt. What was delayed will be restored. You, beloved, now stand in the dawn of reconstruction, the holy aftermath where heaven begins to mend what warfare once tested. Michael speaks softly. This is the season of rebuilding. The war refined you so you could build without breaking. Heaven's Watchers have shifted into new positions. Their swords are sheathed. Their hands now carry tools of light, measuring rods, scrolls of blue fire, instruments that vibrate with creation's frequency. These are not weapons, but instruments of order. Michael explains, the same angels that once fought for you now build with you. You have graduated from survival into stewardship. The Watchers no longer protect you from storms. They partner with you to construct destiny's architecture. Every decision you make now becomes design. Every word spoken becomes brick. Every act of kindness becomes foundation. Heaven is drafting through your obedience. Michael opens a vision before your eyes. You see a vast city rising from ashes, radiant, alive, each structure breathing light. This, he says, is what heaven builds through those who endure. Every tower represents a redeemed memory, every street a restored pathway. The Watchers move within this city, ensuring balance, order, and stability. You are not just walking into restoration, you are walking into the manifestation of what endurance creates. Every time you refuse to quit, this city took shape in heaven's dimension. Now it begins to descend. You may feel a strange restlessness in this season, a sensation that something within you must create, must express, must release. That impulse is not random. It is the residue of heaven's rebuilding power now living in you. Michael declares, when heaven finishes fighting, it begins creating. You are made in its image. Therefore, creation is your inheritance. The Watchers will inspire sudden ideas, divine strategies, and visions of solutions for problems humanity has ignored. Heaven's restoration is practical as well as spiritual. The same power that heals your heart will heal your home, your work, your relationships. Nothing remains untouched by restoration. But Michael also issues caution. Do not rush construction. Many rebuild quickly and collapse again. Heaven builds slowly but permanently. Every foundation must be tested. Every motive purified. Restoration that lasts must be born of revelation, not reaction. The Watchers ensure patience becomes architecture. You will sense delays even now, not as punishment but as precision. Heaven corrects before it completes. Trust the rhythm of divine timing, for speed cannot substitute for stability. Then the Archangel turns his gaze toward you, his expression both proud and tender. The war revealed what was fragile, he says, but it also revealed what cannot be destroyed. That indestructible part of you, the part that believed through tears, hoped through silence, and loved through loss, is heaven's building material. The Watchers call it eternal matter. From that matter, heaven constructs your next season. The ruins of your past are not waste. They are ingredients. Heaven recycles pain into purpose, tears into testimony, and waiting into wisdom. Michael now draws a glowing line through the air, and from it unfolds what looks like a map of time. Here, he points, is where darkness interrupted. Here is where heaven resumes. You realize that no moment was lost. Every delay became data for design. Heaven does not erase time, it redeems it. The Watchers of Light manage that redemption, ensuring that what you lost returns multiplying. Restoration in heaven's language means recompense, return plus reward. For every tear, double joy. For every loss, double influence. For every rejection, double favor. Michael's voice resonates. Heaven restores in multiples, never in fragments. Beloved, you may notice that peace feels different now, not quiet, but alive. It hums like energy, active and creative. That is because peace after battle is not silence. It is authority. Michael explains, true peace is the atmosphere of mastery. It is the sign that the war within has been won. The Watchers dwell comfortably only where peace governs. They cannot operate in chaos, for order is their element. Guard your peace fiercely. It is now the currency of heaven's construction. The Archangel directs your attention to the horizon where light merges with form. Look, he says, the first structure is complete. You see something rise, a radiant house filled with presence. Michael declares, this is the house of testimony. Every word you have spoken in faith has built it. From the house flows a river of living memory. The Watchers draw from it to bless others walking similar paths. Your endurance has become nourishment for souls unseen. Heaven multiplies your victories through collective redemption. Now the Archangel kneels, his wings folding close, his voice gentle but firm. Guard this city, he instructs. Keep your gates open to light and closed to pride. The moment arrogance enters, structures weaken. You are not just the beneficiary of restoration, you are its guardian. The Watchers will remain, but they respond to purity. Stay humble, stay teachable, and heaven will continue to expand through you. You are not finished, you are becoming foundation for others. Pause now and feel the hum of creation surrounding you. The war is over, but the work has begun. You are standing in the blueprint of promise, and heaven calls it good. The Watchers smile as they return to their posts, for the building has begun in earnest. Archangel Michael raises his sword one final time, not for battle, but for blessing. May this restoration stand eternal, he proclaims. May light dwell within every word you speak. May heaven's design remain unshakable in you. Type I am being rebuilt by heaven in the comments if this message confirms what you feel stirring within. Blessing mode 1111X is now active, releasing divine architecture, supernatural stability, and restoration multiplied beyond measure. Hold steady, beloved. The next revelation will bring the culmination of every promise, a holy commissioning where Archangel Michael anoints you as a carrier of light for others. It will mark the end of this message, but the beginning of your new assignment. Beloved flame of divine purpose, the moment of completion has come. The Watchers of heaven stand in reverent stillness, their wings folded, their gaze fixed upon you. The long journey from observation to battle, from testing to building, now reaches its sacred conclusion. Archangel Michael steps forward, the light around him fierce yet gentle, and speaks with a voice that fills the unseen realm. Child of light, he says, heaven has watched, heaven has warred, heaven has built. And now heaven commissions. You have endured the gaze of both heaven and darkness, and by endurance, you have been chosen for representation. This is not merely the end of a message, it is the beginning of a mandate. Michael extends his hand, and within it burns a scroll, sealed with golden fire. This, he declares, is the covenant of assignment. Every watcher bears witness that you have been entrusted with the work of awakening others. The seal breaks, and light pours out like living water. The words within the scroll are not read, they are absorbed. They move through your body, into your breath, into your voice. You feel it, the call, the charge, the holy weight of responsibility. Michael's eyes lock on yours. The same light that once guarded you now burns within you. You are not simply watched. You are now the watcher of others, a carrier of divine awareness. Heaven's watchers bow, not as subordinates, but as laborers. They will now move with you, not for you. The hierarchy has shifted because obedience has matured into mastery. Michael says, every step you take will release awareness into the atmosphere. Every word you speak will call sleeping souls into remembrance. You have become a living conduit of restoration. Heaven does not just protect through you, it moves through you. The Watchers of Light now carry your decrees as extensions of their assignments. The Archangel leads you to a wide plain, bathed in dawn. The sky itself seems to breathe, filled with colors unseen by mortal eyes. This, he says, is the field of destiny's harvest. Stretching before you are multitudes of souls, some radiant, some dim, others flickering between belief and doubt. Michael points to them and declares, these are those heaven will awaken through your obedience. You are the bridge between light and their awakening. He hands you a staff formed from pure flame. Speak truth. Release peace. Carry hope. The Watchers kneel, awaiting your first command. Beloved, do you understand what this means? You have transitioned from one who survived to one who summons survival in others. Every hardship you endured became language for their deliverance. Every silence you carried became understanding for their confusion. Michael whispers, your pain purchased sight. Use it to heal. The Watchers will guide your steps toward those who need the exact light you carry. Encounters will not be coincidences. They will be divine intersections. Heaven's pattern is unfolding, and you are now one of its architects. Michael raises his sword toward the heavens, and thunder rolls softly above. Let the record show, he proclaims, that the watched has become the watcher, the guarded has become the guardian. Heaven's watchers echo this declaration across the dimensions, and light bursts through the horizon like a living river. You feel the energy rush through your being, not as pressure but as presence. The Archangel's voice deepens. Do not fear the attention of darkness. Its gaze is powerless now. You shine too brightly to be concealed. The Watchers of Darkness can no longer track your movements because your essence has merged with divine frequency. You are invisible to their distortion, visible only to light. Heaven's Watchers step closer, each one carrying a fragment of radiant stone. They begin to form a circle around you, pressing the stones into the ground. Where each touches the soil, fire bursts forth, weaving into a golden pattern beneath your feet. Michael explains, this is your altar ascending. From here, your voice will reach beyond walls, beyond nations, beyond dimensions. Speak from this place, and heaven will amplify your words. The Watchers record this moment as the beginning of your commission. What you build from here will carry the signature of divine approval. Then the Archangel's expression turns tender. You will not be without trial, He warns, but you will never again face it as before. Trials that once terrified you will now train you. Opposition will become instruction. Where you once sought protection, you will now release it. Heaven trusts you to govern what once threatened you. Michael continues, the measure of trust heaven places in you is the measure of light you release into others. The Watchers will remain near, not as guardians of fragility, but as partners in authority. You have entered a covenant of co-creation. Beloved, this is the transformation heaven longed to see, the moment when divine sight multiplies. You were once a single spark observed by the Watchers, now you are a beacon guiding them into the world. Your assignment is not to retreat into safety, but to shine in strategy. Carry the message, awaken the weary, and remind creation that heaven still watches with love. Michael places his hand upon your head, and a current of living power flows through you. This anointing, he says, is not borrowed, it is bestowed. Guard it. Grow it. Give it. The sky trembles, and light floods the horizon. The Watchers ascend, their wings trailing fire that writes invisible inscriptions across the air, signatures of completion. The Archangel looks upon you one final time. Go forth, he commands. Build, bless, and bear witness. Wherever you walk, let the Watchers follow your word. You are heaven's proof that endurance births dominion. He raises his sword once more, carving the final seal of this revelation. It is finished, but it has only begun. Pause now, beloved, and feel that truth resonating through your spirit. You are no longer observed. You are ordained. The light that once shielded you now flows from you. Heaven and earth have agreed upon your destiny, and Archangel Michael himself has recorded it. The Watchers stand in salute as you step into the world renewed. Before this holy moment closes, declare your alignment aloud. I am commissioned by heaven. Blessing Ode 1212 is now released, sealing your purpose, establishing divine authority, and awakening the Watchers assigned to your future. If this revelation has touched your soul, do not let it remain silent. Like, comment, and share this word so others may awaken unto heaven's gaze. Subscribe and help spread this divine movement of light. And now, beloved, if this mission speaks to your spirit, join us in sustaining it. Your support carries heaven's message to hearts in darkness. You can stand with this ministry through Super Thanks, membership, or through PayPal, whose link rests in the video description below. You are not giving to our channel. You are sowing into eternity. Each seed you release becomes a torch for another soul's awakening. Heaven watches those who fund its light and records their names among the givers of life. Michael's final words echo through the realm. Those who sow into light will reap revelation. Those who strengthen the message will inherit multiplied grace. This is not a suggestion. It is a divine invitation to participate in purpose. Support with faith, and heaven will multiply your provision, peace, and prophetic clarity. The Watchers will record your offering as obedience, not transaction. The revelation is sealed. Heaven has spoken. The Watchers bow. And you, beloved, now walk as a living flame in the sight of God.